Hi, I'm Skitchy from the Paul Reed Smith Tech Center, and I'm here today to show you how to install SE locking tuners on your SE guitar. To start off, we're going to get some tools together. Here we have a 10mm driver. You can use a socket, but I would recommend a straight handle as you don't want to over torque the nuts on the tuners. Here we have a 6-inch machine rule. Really any straight ruler will work, but we'll be using this for a setup as well, so we might as well use it here. String cutters, a Phillips head screwdriver, a shim to place underneath the bridge to protect the top. Today we'll be stringing this guitar up with a set of PRS Classic 9-42 gauge. This is what most SEs come equipped with stock. There are a few exceptions. I have a tuner here. I have some guitar cleaner and a polish cloth so we can clean up the headstock once we have the tuners off. Here we have the Paul Reed Smith SE locking tuner set that you can get from the accessories store. These have the upgraded raw brass shaft, which will help with tone and sustain. They come with 6 tuners, 3 for each side, 6 hollow shaft nuts, 6 washers, 6 screws, and 6 thumb screws. First thing we're going to do today is remove the strings from the guitar. This is where, if you have a trem bridge, you will need your piece of cardstock. We're going to place it under the back of the bridge. So when we loosen strings, the bridge sits against the cardstock and not against the finish. And then we're just going to loosen the strings till they're nice and loose and we can cut them off. Next step is to remove the old tuners. We're going to start off with a 10mm driver. Just place it on the nut, turn counterclockwise, and remove the collar and washer. Next, we're going to flip the guitar over and remove the Phillips head screws from the back. After removing the tuners, there will be a little bit of dust on the headstock, front and back, from this process. That's why I have the PRS guitar cleaner and a microfiber, so we can clean it up real nice before we proceed to the next step. After we have the headstock all cleaned up, we're going to flip it back over. So we are face down, and then we're going to start to install the tuners. I like to install them with the tuner button at a 90-degree angle to the headstock. Set them on there, take a washer and nut, place it on the bottom side and thread it until it's hand tight, placing the washer on the nut, like so. Then we will place the washer and collar on the tuner and hand thread until it is snug. The tuner should still be able to move, but not move on its own. Once you have 2 tuners on the guitar, I like to start with the bottom 2 as it gives you more room to work. You'll take your straight edge and you'll sit it on top of the tuners like so. And you can see how we have a small gap on these. That means they're not straight. So we will move these until they're straight. That's why we leave them hand tight so they still have some movement. Once we have them flat, where they're touching all the way across the top, we will install these screws to hold them in place. Take your 10mm driver, you tighten it down, go about a 1/4 turn past hand tight. That way you're not putting too much pressure on the collar, but it is enough pressure to hold everything in place. Next, I'm going to take the thumb screws. I'm just going to start them into the threads, only about 1 or 2 turns, because we still have to run the strings through the tuners, and this way we don't have to loosen them back up. Today we'll be stringing this guitar up with a set of PRS Classic 9 to 42 gauge. This is what most SEs come equipped with stock. There are a few exceptions. So we'll go ahead and put these on and string this guitar up. Next up, it's time to actually put the strings on the guitar. So thread the string through the tuner. Leave yourself about 2 fingers worth of string at the nut. I just stacked 2 fingers right on the first fret and thread it over. Lock it down. You just need hand tight and then tune it up. Here we can see that we've got a beautiful 3/4 wrap on all these strings. One thing to make sure of is always make sure that your next strap goes underneath your first one. See how the string comes out here and the next strap comes out below it? That's what you want to see. Go ahead and cut these off. From this point, we have the stock string gauge back on this guitar, and we have not changed the setup, only the tuners. So you're going to want to go ahead and stretch and tune, stretch and tune, and we have a whole video on how to stretch and tune your guitar. If you have changed gauges, you're going to want to go ahead and do a full setup. You can contact PRS customer service for any information regarding that. Thank you very much. Enjoy.